Hi, light workers and seekers. Namaste. Thanks, Santina, for participating in this. This is my friend Santina, and we are doing another portion of getting to know Danielle from Holistic Harmony. So I am part of the Holistic Harmony tribe that I created last year, and Santina is from BornToVibe, and she's going to be asking me some questions today that apparently people want to know.
Yes, I just want to get into your mind a little bit deeper.
Ow.
Let's start digging.
Ow. Okay.
Well, of course, who's watching Holistic Harmony or getting to know you in this light, myself included, within yoga, you have a certain perspective or a certain understanding, or you think you do, that sort of me, like the viewer, the students,
Okay.
who's watching, who's learning from you. You have a certain perspective of who you are, but who
who do you think I am? I kind of wonder.
Well, sort of just like how we talked a little bit about in the last video, is just, and again, I don't mean higher as in better. Mean further along in the journey of
super
spirituality. Yeah, basically super nerd. But
love that.
You know what I mean. Just farther along in the journey where we, myself included, can look to you as a teacher, as a guider, as a spiritual healer, helper. So, so that's the perspective, even in the last video, of me asking you about the pressures that you feel and not being able to feel so human.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean about people seeing you, how you're sort of perceived sometimes, or can be. I'm not saying that that's how everyone feels. I'm just saying that as a person putting yourself out there as a teacher or a guide, that's kind of how you can be perceived.
You're right. I don't even think of myself like that sometimes. Sometimes I walk into class and I'm like, all right, who's teaching class tonight?
Yeah, it's like, get up front. Like,
my God.
What are you doing? Get your mat. So, who sort of really is Danielle behind just the computer screen, behind being in the front on the yoga mat?
I have really made that such a huge part of my life that it isn't very often that I'm not that.
Right.
Even when I go to work for hair, I still am talking to people about the things that they need to hear at the time. That's just the level of conversations that I have with people.
Are people asking?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, first of all, you tell your hairdresser everything anyway because they don't know people that you know, and you can divulge your deepest feelings to them, and no one's gonna hear about it in your circle.
Right.
So your secret's safe with them. So with that information, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm definitely gonna be like, well, let me share this. Mm-hmm. That's just it's such a huge part of me. I can't even. Unless I know that it's falling on deaf ears, or I just really am like, yo, I can't even be that right now.
Yeah.
Today.
Not today.
Yeah. Then I won't. But otherwise, I love it. So that's what I do. How I got to get to where I'm at.
Yeah.
Is such a long road.
Can I just say quickly that I don't want to make the assumption or say that this is for everybody, but I just feel like sometimes you have to almost hate yourself or hit rock bottom or be at such a low to be able to get your shit together and need to get to a place that you really need to be.
Oh, yeah.
So was that...
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be born like Jesus, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You have to have darkness. You have to have shadow sides, duality. That's a part of being a human.
Right.
How they look is a part of everybody's karma and, their environment and what they subject themselves to and the free will.
Yes.
There are things that need to be played out in each and every person's life, and which direction they take it is their own. I definitely agree that in order for a person to find their light, it has to enter through the dark parts of themselves. So absolutely,
Is that the case for you?
Totally. Oh my goodness, absolutely. The person that I am today is a person in the making of obviously a lifetime, but consciously and intentionally since I'm 22,
Okay.
at least. That was the age where I really was like, I can't live like this anymore. Life does not have to be this way. You know what it took for me? My mom doesn't watch these anyway. It took for me to move out of my house and get out of that environment and that bubble. And
what was that environment in that bubble?
Oh,
we're not going to get into the whole bubble.
Just everybody's parents does absolutely the best that they can with what they have. Let me just start off with that.
Yeah.
My environment was, to say the least, not the most nurturing environment for expressing feelings.
Okay.
I definitely was not validated with, I was told, like, stop crying. Not to be able to release and move through emotions and stuff like that. Even when my grandma died and, things happen, otherwise with my dad and stuff like that, it was like, stop crying because you're going to upset somebody else. So you're not allowed to have your own feelings and emotions about something. And, you're not validated when that happens. And
not at all.
Yeah, you have
in a pattern of feeling that that's how you have to be, how you're supposed to be. And when you get
how everybody views you.
Yeah.
How you're supposed to be treated. And accept that when it happens. And so I've had a very interesting life, to say the least, through my own choices and behaviors at early stages in my life that created a level of necessary growth that needed to be had, for sure. And when I was 22 and I really became more independent and was out on my own, that was when my parents moved to Long Island and I stayed in Queens. So that's where I'm from. And so that level of survival that you need to achieve. I mean, I was still going to school. I'm always in school.
Right?
I've literally been in school since I'm 5 years old. Most of which I've forgotten exist. But I have always been in school. I mean, I've been in school since I'm 5. I've never not been in school. I think maybe 1 year of my 20s where I was like, when I left CUNY, right, I was just like, I have 85 credits, man. When I'm ready to finish, I'll figure out what I'm going to finish in, and I'm going to do it for me because I want to, not because I'm going to use this degree to make money. I already know that that's not happening. Right. And I always worked so hard in my jobs that I made decent enough money working whatever I did and building businesses on the side and stuff like that. I started Avon also in like 2003. Okay. I'm born in 83, so I was like 20, maybe 05, maybe 22. 22 was like
the year.
So that was when a lot of things changed for me, and not so drastically to be where I'm at right now back then. I mean, that took years and years and years of time. I started dabbling in a lot of more mental things where I was like, I can't live in this mind frame anymore. There's something wrong with me. Like, I don't know why I sway so much emotionally. And, obviously when your needs are not met emotionally from, your parents, then that's going to
cause all you know.
Instability within you, and therefore you're going to wind up attracting situations into your life that are also going to mirror that because that's the vibration that you're at and the frequency that you're at. And so I've had a lot of life lessons of instability and distrust and, manipulation and lots of ugly things that I would never. That's why when people are like, oh, to be young again, I'm like, you couldn't pay me enough to go back to any of those years. Are you kidding? I'm living the best years of my life as they go on because I'm always growing and changing.
I love that so much. And
it's the truth.
It's really beautiful too to hear that because, well, like you said, so many people are, to be young again, but so many people are either so eager for what's to come in the future or so reminiscent of the past. But to just be so present and to be so happy in the present it's it's a really admirable and a really beautiful thing.
Thank you. I
So-
really appreciate that. And that's not to be mistaken with the thought of that happens all the time.
Right.
Because it's certainly not always that way. In the grand scheme of things, I am very grateful for all of the things that I have done, built, the risks that I have taken to get to where I am.
Yeah.
And, you know, all of the power that's come from all of that hard work that I've really put into everything that I do. But it was a long, hard road for sure. So the first thing that I started to do was look into things like Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Deepak Chopra. And again, this was in like 05, let's just say for argument's sake. So we're in, what year are we in? 2019?
2019.
Holy moly. So
I
yeah,
know.
almost 15 years. Like it makes me feel like, wow, like that's where I am. Holy moly. It's been that long and yet I still look the same. But
Love it. It's all the good vibes.
oh my goodness. So, you know, it's been a really long time that I've been on the seeking end of trying to find myself.
Right.
And it didn't start off in spirituality. The next thing that I did find, though, was A Course in Miracles, which if anybody is interested in anything like that, learning how to turn fear-based thoughts into love and navigating your life through love rather than fear. The Course in Miracles, was what really started to shed even, it cracked open, like those wounds, it was like, cracked them open and like a little bit of light shone through, but my dark side was still like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So I got a lot of concepts that I kind of gathered and was able to apply some of them. But, you know, in other areas of my life, perhaps I was inviting in people and situations that didn't allow me to get to the higher levels faster.
Right.
So that's why it's like, don't even worry about how long it takes. Because if you rush it, you know how much harder the lesson would be if you wanted it all at once?
Yeah. It's comforting and terrifying at the same time.
Duality.
To know that.
Yep.
You know?
That's the world, man.
Right. I mean, it's comforting to be like, wow, I'm not behind or any, you know what I mean? Or anything like that. That part is comforting.
God, feel confident in that.
Yeah.
I felt like that too. By the time I finished hair school and started to like build a clientele and even still was unsure, I was 30 years old. By that point, I'm like, wow, I'm 30. I still don't have a house. You know, all I have is the car that I've had for the last 10 years. I own nothing. I have no savings. I have nothing. I'm starting from scratch. What is happening?
It's that
I'm so behind.
To try to be like, I'm still young. I still have time to do stuff. I'm figuring it out. I'm not doing nothing. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not going nowhere. But then also being like, but, you know, like you said, I'm 30. What am I doing? And I'm like constantly trying to tame those fears. You know, it's human.
Surrendering to divine timing, having faith that you're following your heart in everything that you do and speaking your truth, or at least getting to know yourself enough so that you can practice whenever you can. Yeah. That's all we're supposed to do. That's all I'm doing now.
Yes. So it is. It's very comforting.
Yeah. So. We're just all doing it at wherever we are in life. So if we're constantly looking, I could still feel now, I'm not married. I don't have a family. You know, I'm 35. I'm going to be 36 in August. And so for me to focus on all of the things that I haven't done, anybody else would be like, are you crazy? Look at all of the things that you have. Right. And I wouldn't have been able to get to here if every step of the way I would have been fighting it. Feeling like this isn't right because it's not
another year,
fast enough.
You know, or another this, another that, or totally.
Yes.
And it helps, you know, you could say that until you're blue in the face, or you can think that to yourself until you're blue in the face, but sometimes it really just takes another person or seeing, you know, someone else's life and journey and pointing out the benefits of their journey to them to be like, oh, that applies to me too. So that's why you like doing what you do, right? Because it helps to give that different perspective. I appreciate that a lot, and I think the viewers will too. Definitely check out Santina's YouTube channel for sure. Thank you. All the interviews and that's amazing because that, you know, everybody's going to connect with something different. So to carry on through that,
I went to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within and did like the fire walk and the 4-day event and stuff like that. And
Wow.
every tool that I picked up along the way, I mean, I've read books like you wouldn't believe. Most of which I've forgotten, like my certificates. But they stay in the vault, and
Yeah.
you know, I apply. That's what happens. You take the information and you apply it, and it becomes your lifestyle. So I also enjoy having these conversations, because what is common to me now on a regular basis, I forget how uncommon it is for other people to just be in the presence of all the time.
Completely.
Because I live alone, and I'm only in my own energy and my own creations all the time. So to me, this is like normal everyday life. I'm like, what do you mean?
I know what I'm doing. Right.
But I don't all the time know what I'm doing. Nobody does. I still struggle and need help. And it's also super important for me to build my own support systems of like-minded people. Again, the reason why we have Holistic Harmony, to continue to allow people to grow and connect and really help uplift one another, because we're all one.
Totally. Because
we all need help. And because the better we take care of each other, the better the world's going to be. Obviously, the collective is everything. None of us are alone. I spoke in my meditation last week that when you tap into the universal field beyond the aura, the space of where the collective consciousness lies, that's where all of our thoughts and our actions are, and we're all connected to that energy field. So we are all suffering. None of us carry our pain or our issues alone. We're all connected. So the more we are vocal and open about what it is that we struggle with, what we need help with, and who we are, the better off people are going to be able to treat us and help us navigate through things, because they're going to know us better. Also connect to themselves on a deeper level, because they're seeing it from a perspective of somebody else and removing their own ego and their own stuff away from it, where they can be like, wow, and now I can apply it to me too.
And gravitate more toward, because if you're putting on this face, or even, you know, if you are a happy person all the time or whatever, you know, that's fine, but it's more human. It makes you feel, you know, more unified with people when you can show those sides, or show your pain, show your suffering, and have genuine connections with that. And then, you know, the thing about being positive is not about having to be happy 24/7. It's about knowing that you're not going to be in that mindset or in that place forever, and that you can look forward. You can know that tomorrow can be better. That's positivity.
Yes, and just, again, seeing the brighter version rather than the darker version. Even if the situation still sucks, you're still taking out of it the best parts of it and moving forward.
Right, and you're acting on the emotions that you feel. You're allowing yourself to feel them. Yep. And then giving yourself space to move forward.
Yep. And then drawing more of that frequency towards you, and allowing that to be who you're associating with, and the life, the way in which life is showing up for you, which we discussed in the vision board workshop.
Right. I genuinely don't think that being happy 24/7 is the goal, because that's unrealistic. It's not it's not possible.
Not in a world of suffering. How can you be happy 24/7 when there's people that are, you know, with cancer and wars and
dying,
people suffering with diseases and stuff like that? I mean, if you were happy 24/7, you'd probably not be mentally well.
Right.
So
that's what I mean. People do put on a front to be like that, though, or especially in our day and age with like social media and everything, that it's, you know, people really consistently like to put out the bright, the happy, here's, you know, everything that's going dandy. So for what you're talking about is, you know, people being one and everyone's suffering, everyone's in pain, that really is a unifying thing. To be able to find people to share that.
That's the whole reason why we go through these experiences. It's not to keep them to ourselves.
Yes.
What's that going to do?
Just harm you more, honestly.
Right. It's to heal the world. I feel like I keep saying this in my videos. I'm singing "Heal the World." It's to help everybody, you know, relate and connect and feel better. And I really do try to only put positivity on my pages
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like there's already so much other stuff that I don't even pay attention to because I don't watch the news.
Yeah,
I try to stay as current and aware of what's happening in the world so that I'm in touch with reality. But I also don't get absorbed into it so that it becomes my whole world.
Right.
So to not pay attention to current events or things that people are going through and experiencing at all is a disservice in itself, as is diving into it so head deep that now you're, having so much empathy for all of the situations happening out in the world that you can't even function.
Right, and that's going to lead you, or potentially could lead you, to being sad 24/7. Because if you're diving into this, there's more negativity than positivity, of course, on the news and what you hear, the current events, the news. You hear all the traumatic major events.
The media is set up in such a way to create fear.
Of course.
And so people that spend most of their time being influenced by that are going to navigate through their life in that mind frame.
100%. This is pretty much the topic I did my research paper on in college was like that. So yeah, totally.
Awesome. Yeah, 100%. So where are we on my journey?
Well, I think we're still at 22.
Oh my goodness, the beginning. See, we're starting over from the beginning. No, so then we moved on to Course in Miracles.
Right.
And I'm just trying to thumb through the resources in the file cabinet in my brain because there's definitely lots of stuff that I'm leaving out, but I'm just pinpointing the main things. Yeah. So that was like throughout my 20s. I would say that I kind of was like always looking into religions. I always was interested in religions. My grandma was Lutheran, however, I was Catholic, and she would take me to Catholic church. I'd be there Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And I spent all of my weekends in church with my grandma, and I made all of my, up to confirmation. But I still always was a seeker of more answers. That just did not always resonate with me or make sense. It was always like written in like some kind of thing that I couldn't get.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, what? And even in college,
wait, what?
Wait, what?
I read a lot of books, but this one, wait, what?
This one I'm having a hard time. So, even in college, like I always took psychology. I took so many psychologies, women's psychology. I took lots of other different types of psychology and philosophy. That was always my jam. I even took one religion class. I don't remember what it was called. Shout out to York College, CUNY in Jamaica. That's where I went. And just dabbling into philosophies and opinions and, how people view and shape the world definitely always interests me. My own mental health definitely drove me to try to find more answers. And the ways in which my career went built me up the confidence to then be able to take all of the tools that I had gained and then project them out to the people that wanted to know about it. And so when I hit 30 is when I went to therapy.
Okay.
And that was when I finally was like, let me admit some of my stuff here that needs to be admitted and, figure out how to navigate through it and move on.
Wow.
So, and then,
so kind of your beginning to consciousness was 22 and you sort of went through those cycles until 30. You're like, okay, need to clean the rest.
Yep. It was then that I felt like I've done enough research on my own without finding the solution to make me feel better.
Right.
Now I'm ready to go to a person who's more educated than me for sure and has better tools to give me so that I can navigate through life easier and with better understanding. And, I'm not ashamed of that. I would be more ashamed of not doing that.
Right. And also you can feel pride and, pride in a good way and, to be able to say, I tried on my own first. It wasn't just like, oh, this is, I need you to fix me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, by the time I got to therapy, I already had so many tools under my belt that it was like 8 months, twice a week, maybe 10 months, I can't remember, twice a week,
Mm-hmm.
intense, just rehashing everything and figuring it all out.
Right.
Then got to a place where I felt like, do I move on to medication at this point to regulate mood? Do I, I don't even know. Play video games and eat junk food all day? I don't even know. Yeah, do I give up on that? I don't know. But so I definitely got myself to a place where I was comfortable then being like, now I feel like if I do medicate to mood regulate and stabilize, it will help me plug in all of these resources even further, because if you live 30 years where you fluctuate and are unstable emotionally, you need help sometimes getting there, and that's okay. So I went on Prozac for, I don't know, a year perhaps. And then I felt like through my spirituality, because then I dived really deep into my yoga practice because I was more focused.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, now I can actually even do more certificates that I don't remember. So I was able to focus now and kind of really live a life of maintenance emotionally that helped me expand even further.
Yeah.
And then when I felt like with that help, I gathered all of the other information that wasn't able to tap to when I wasn't stable, I came off of my medication. And through growing my hair business was really overwhelmed at times because it grew so fast and it was a lot for me to keep up with. Started feeling again like, oh my God, I can't handle any of this. Why is this so hard? And, bugging out. I would get debilitated to the point where like the phone would ring and I would have a panic attack, and then I would let messages add up forever and feel like the pressure of like, I don't know what this person wants. What are they going to need from me? What if I don't have the answer? And like wouldn't pick up the phone. And so my best friend was like, listen, I think that what you have going on is a lot of pressure for any regular person to deal with, right? But you were handling it better when you were regulated. So she had encouraged me to go back on Prozac, and about 3 months later, she passed away. So thank God she encouraged me. Chills. Yeah, oh my God, wow. I've told this story before, so like I kind of skipped the chills part, but yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you.
No, it's okay.
I miss her so much, and thank God she knew me well enough to suggest that, and I listened. I trusted her enough to listen, because had she passed and I wasn't stabilized, I think my whole business would have probably went down in the dumps, because she also was my first administrative assistant. So not only was she my best friend in life, but she also was my partner in business. And to run now the level of business that I grew with her without her was like, what do I do?
I just want to say I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I can empathize and sympathize with that. I unfortunately know the feeling of losing friends. So it's just,
tough. It sucks. That was the first person that passed away that was really close to me in my life, that I was like, now I understand what everybody experiences. Right. So that was really tough. And so I was back on meds now for like 8 months after that. Through from the time I went on, after she passed, and then, like when I got off of it, it was like an 8-month span. Okay. And at that point, I felt like I really, with Reiki and everything else, I was like, I got this. Like I went through a real funk when, she passed for like a good 6 months. I gained like 40 pounds. That was part of like my weight loss journey that you kind of missed because I met you after I had already like been halfway through that. Right. But I was like 200 pounds, and I started filming for a hairdresser show, Scissor Salute to the Scissor Salute show. And when I saw myself on camera, I was like, no. So I took control over my life again, because I was filling that void with food. I did not care about myself. I just maintained whatever I needed to keep everything going. And then I decided to take control of my life again, and got connected with the right people at the right time to tap into my health physically, tap into my spirituality, and I had the mental aspect already on my side because I was working with it already for so long that I had it under control, that the marriage of all of those things,
it blended perfectly. Here's the success.
And it wasn't until after that even that I was like, I'm going to teach yoga. And like, it wasn't even like, I'm going to teach yoga. It was like, I'm going to learn yoga more.
Yeah.
I was like,
do this more and
get a certificate, and I know where I put it. But I was like, I want to know more yoga. I love it.
Yeah.
It is my savior and my church. And, you know, I love the community. And it was just, I have no siblings or anything like that. No?
Only child.
Man. Yeah, it's a lonely road being an only child because you have no natural nieces and nephews. Yep. You have no one to relate to with mom and dad in their crazy ways or to help you take care of them when things happen. And, you know, just no one there's nothing, no one will know what a sibling feels like unless they have one. No one will know what it feels like not to have siblings unless they don't.
Right.
It's a feeling that only people that don't have siblings could share. And the thing that I get from other people is that have siblings are always like, I don't even talk to my brother. He's a jerk, you know, whatever. And it's like, I get it. But, you know, and, you know, whatever, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Right.
But not having a sibling and not just having that person to connect to in that way and never knowing what that will ever feel like.
I feel you.
Sad face.
Yeah.
So, yeah, having that community really just helped me grow exponentially and build such beautiful connections and friendship like this one here. And like so many other people that I've invited into my life over the last couple of years that have really made such a difference and been a huge support system for me.
So beautiful.
Thanks. So I don't even know, did I answer everything?
Yes, that was, you know, the full journey, or at least the bullet points, you know, the main thing. So this sounds silly because of what's all on your plate, but what's next for you? Where do you feel you are now? Do you feel you're at a place of, okay, this is what I've created for myself and I want to stay consistent in what I'm doing now? Do you want to try to take
me consistent and stay where I'm at? Yeah, right.
For now, for the moment, to not get to that place where you're burning out.
Totally that, yes, absolutely.
You know, I don't mean never learn a new trade
like,
or never do something else, but, you know, with what you've all taken on and gotten to the point of being so good at it and managing it all so well and everything, do you want to just sit in that for a little bit to allow yourself the space and the time to really do it all well and feel it all and not get too carried away and possibly burn out?
Yeah, I think that over the last few months, I've really been through some experiences that have caused me to re-examine what my needs actually are. I think that last year, focusing on being a teacher, even more than hair, now my hair business and my yoga business are like leveled out, where like yoga was supposed to be a hobby.
Right.
And I'm just
Plot
like,
twist.
whoa. Yeah, seriously. So, I have spent all of my energy last year working towards this.
Right.
And now that I'm here and I have put all these workshops together, and now putting these things together are definitely a lot less stressful than they were in the beginning. In the beginning, if you could believe it, when I was in college, I almost failed speech. I could not even speak in front of people. I was a totally different person going back to 20, before 22.
Before 22,
before 22.
Major year.
Yeah, major year. So I was a totally different person.
Wow.
I was so shy, introverted, felt very worthless, and didn't know who I was. I had low self-esteem and felt like no one cared about me, if I had to sum it up. Wow. So, yeah, that was how, you know, I felt for a large portion of my life. I would say more than I have not felt like that, if you could believe that.
And the beautiful part is that you're here now and you have the whole rest of your life to overshadow.
That's why you can never feel like, oh, I'm behind.
Right.
Because it's not even like that, man.
I needed to hear that so much.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So, thanks. for doing this, because I'm sure that you're not alone there, and neither am I. You know,
Right.
like even talking about it just reinforces it that much more.
Yeah,
So what I've
totally
decided
validated.
this year is that filling up all of my time with all of these beautiful things that I love so much, when they become stressful, they're not going to get the same energy out of me. Yeah. So that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do now is maybe have heavier weeks or a heavy month, and then
time to rest.
Scale back a little bit for the next month, and I track all of that so I can see what months were really heavy. It's not like every day just blows by and I have no idea what's going on. If you look, I have February, March, April's in the closet. Yeah. May is going to start to get worked on. That's how I live my life. I'm looking at 2-3 months ahead so that I can plan better and, try to manage better what I have going on. So realistically, what was supposed to happen with the meditations, with the live music, is that I was supposed to be working on doing music myself. And that turned into that, and I love that. And I also didn't have to be singing in front of people. I could just guide and write the meditations and conduct them and still have the music behind me and connect in that way. I think that what I've learned about myself over the very recent few weeks, even, and couple of months, is whatever I needed to learn to remove the block off of my heart so that I can start to express myself in the ways that I know that I've always been meant to, like we said before. And it took all of this to get me to there. So that's what I'm going to finally be working on in my free time, is just some really diving into myself and doing some hobby type music. Not something that's going to become a workshop.
Right. It's more for yourself.
Totally.
Are you planning to put it out?
Who the hell knows? Anything's possible, I never will limit myself. Yeah. If it's worthy of it, then who knows? Perhaps. But I'm not even putting that pressure on myself.
Right. No, I just meant, is that something that you're I'm doing this almost like a journal? Is this for me, or is this something that, if I want to, I want to. It's possible. This is something that I feel as though is a hobby of mine that I have neglected for most of my life. I've been singing. My first solo was when I was in kindergarten graduation. Okay. So I have always played, keyboard. My first keyboard lesson, piano lesson, was when I was 3. Mm-hmm. But I never really researched, spent time on, again, because I was alone. When you play music alone, it's boring. Yeah. Let me play video games instead. I grew up in the 80s. Yeah. You think I'm going to play on the keyboard, or I'm playing Mario? I'm definitely playing Nintendo, I was a kid. So I didn't really have a person there to be let me teach you this. You're really good at this. Right. Let me help you develop this. It was kind of you do it, you don't. That's it. Don't ask for it ever again. I was oh man. So, there was no freedom there to be maybe right now it's not the right time, but now I feel like it is. I did get a guitar when I was 16. I still have it. Wait, I'm trying to... No, I was 18. I got an electric guitar for my 18th birthday. I had an electric crate. I think... I don't even remember mine. Mine was so low budget. It was probably $180, but who cares? But I was great, when do I start lessons? And my parents were what? We're not getting you lessons. I'm well, how am I? What? Wait. I don't want to, I'm already by myself all the time, only child. I don't want to sit on YouTube and try to teach myself this guitar. I need interaction. Girl, there was no YouTube when I was 16. Sorry. Okay? That just really hurt my heart. Sorry. I was born in 83. Cut. There was no YouTube, so if I wasn't making connections, and then again thinking about the person that I was back then, I wasn't going to be really putting myself out there with another person to learn something and be vulnerable like that, because I wasn't confident enough. And I know now that the reason why I didn't go into the music field and side of things earlier on is because I was meant to be here doing this. Right. Imagine if I would have had the struggles that I had without the journey that I had, and it took me until 30 to get to a place where it was manageable or even recognizable. Yeah. And was doing music 10 years prior to that. That's
a recipe for disaster when you struggle, you know, in the ways that I did. And I feel like that's probably what a lot of artists go through.
Yep.
And, you know, fill their void or express themselves through their music, but it's only healing to a certain degree. It's not then putting the focus on truly, you know, removing those limitations and, you know, behavioral patterns.
Right.
It's just allowing you to express and move through the energy of it, but continuing the cycles over and over. So I truly feel as though I was supposed to do whatever I have done up until now, extend that out, and, you know, move on from there. I had a psychic tell me once, like a few years ago, she's like, you're going to reach people by the masses. I don't know how, but you're going to reach people by the masses. And I was like,
when you...
doing hair?
Yeah. When you heard that, were you excited or were you a little bit fearful?
I think that I still didn't really believe in myself yet to even
so like,
be scared of it. I was kind of like, I believed in the energy of a psychic.
Right.
But I didn't believe in myself enough to be like,
to believe
true.
That she was accurate.
Yeah, like I definitely didn't doubt her. I doubted me.
That's what I meant. Not like, oh, a psychic just, you thought you knew what you were talking about when you were talking to me. Like, no. You read the wrong energy.
Yeah. I was like, for real? I was like, cool. But like, it did open me up to like, I recall that.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm going, you know, through my journey, I'm like, are these the masses? Are they here yet? So, you know, again, I don't want to put a limit on it. I don't know what that will look like throughout the rest of my life, but I can see that she tapped into something because
that's, I think, the kind of
hi, YouTube.
hard part about, or not really hard, but could be a very confusing part about psychics in a way, is especially sometimes you know, how specific they can be. I went to a psychic only one time, and I was 17 because,
oh my goodness,
yeah, because my mom
You're long overdue.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was 17. My mom literally had to go in the room with me, and I know, because I wasn't of age, and you know, the psychic, she told me things that were so specific that I felt like the reason really kind of that I hadn't gone back is because of how specific it was, that I was like, I can't let that, like, guide, you know, stay in my mind and, like, guide what I was doing. You know, I mean, it was to the point where it was at 23, you're going to meet the person that you spend the rest of your life with. At 25, you're going to be engaged. And I was just like...
Oh, that doesn't really sound like... A psychic, I feel like, would not... And, you know... Listen, everybody's gifts are different, so I don't want to minimize what someone is capable of seeing and knowing and feeling. But I feel like, okay, so not to cut you off, but even like when I teach tarot is not meant to tell you your future.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
You know, be a hard set rules of what's going to happen. It's meant to give you a message that's going to help you find your soul.
Right,
and
that's,
then
I didn't
you take
appreciate
from it what you do from there. That sounds like...
So, yeah, that was a very bad taste in my mouth of, you know, of the whole thing. And I almost, like, felt like in some sort of way, now, please believe me, by no means that I live my life or like, oh, sorry, I can't talk to you or meet you yet. I wait till I'm 23.
But were you not disappointed when you were 24 and you were like, where's this dude?
Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be engaged by now. Like,
yeah, like, you know, that's kind of like a doctor telling you have something wrong with you, but when you don't.
Exactly.
And, you know, before he knows for sure, it's like you're going to scare the hell out of somebody.
Right, so I just had a sort of bad taste in my mouth, and I also was like, well, I don't want to go to another one, and then them be like, oh no, you're gonna never find anyone, like, at 24. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just take that with a grain of salt, let that one slide, and not get involved. I mean, of course, now, like I said, I'm 26 now. I have a different
You're
outlook.
in the clear.
Yeah, I'm in the clear. I'm not married, not engaged, totally single. Hey, who's watching this, hit me up at BornToVibe.
Oh, hey, Born to Vibe.
No, but I think of it differently now, and I have more of an open mind. And again, 17, like, I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever you say.
Yeah, you were so young. That's kind of traumatizing, though. To me, that's like the same thing as when somebody gets a bad haircut early on, and then they're scarred for life, and every time I try to take off a centimeter, they're like having a heart attack.
Right. And meanwhile, my mom was in there like, haha, yeah, whatever. Like, she
right.
took
So
it
that's
as
also
nothing.
like a bad, like not a bad energy, but like an energy that you don't really
Yeah.
want to be having in your reading, where like there's skeptics and like
well, I
people
don't
not really
mean
taking
that
it seriously.
she was not taking it seriously. Just like, okay, like, so this.
Well,
the
how can you take that
specificity,
seriously?
You know, yeah, it's so specific that it's like,
Yeah.
no, you could have just been like, one day you'll be married, and that would have been enough. Like,
Right.
Whatever.
Like love is coming into your life.
Yes.
At some point.
There's a way.
Be ready.
Be ready. And I would have been like, great. Not, you're going to meet the person at this age, get engaged at this
That's
age,
wild.
be married at this. I'm like, lady, chill. I don't know about all that.
So, yeah, that's the energy. What else? Did I even finish answering whatever you asked me?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
I'm
You
getting
did.
lost in these conversations.
No,
I
I
love
know.
them so much. So, I think with that being said, we're going to call this quits. If you like these videos with myself and Santina, getting to know the Holistic Harmony tribe, please hit the like button. If you would like to subscribe to stay in touch with all of the fun things that we talk about, hit that too. If you would like to leave a comment below about anything that you feel from this video, hopefully we're really trying to open up the dialogue here for some things that I think people don't really have a chance to ask me, and in the environment that I see people, we're not able to spend 40 minutes talking about mental health and struggles and journeys. So this is a really cool way for us to connect on even another level in ways that I wouldn't even think to talk about certain things because I don't know that they're of interest to people.
Right.
I just kind of give them whatever it is that they need from me at the time, or that, they're asking about, because that's all the time we have together. So thank you so much for being here and doing this with me. Again, Santina is with Born to Vibe. Check her out. Check out her channel. We'll have the link below. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And until we meet again, namaste.
Namaste.